Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Frank Chong. I'm the president of Laney College, and it's my honor and delight to welcome Senator Clinton to our campus. Let's give her a Laney College welcome.
Well, I've read her speeches and heard her comments. She has spoken eloquently, without fear and reservation, cloaked in the simple notion of justice. Her comment was, and I quote, "To continue down this path is unacceptable, intolerable, and un-American." What a wonderful, clear, unequivocal statement about the need for justice in this country. So I picked up the telephone and I called Senator Clinton and I said, I want to let you know that on the merit and on substance, that I endorse your candidacy. I believe that history will record that you will go down as one of the greatest presidents that ever led this country further into the 21st century. This is not about symbolism. This is about substance. We have lived for the last several years with an administration whose policies are totally unacceptable. They have abandoned the cities, so we must now go to the polls in massive numbers, understanding that there is a need for regime change, but it will be done here peacefully and democratically and be done by the people at the polls.
My goodness, I had such a good time in Oakland last night, I couldn't stay away. But I have to say, following Mayor Dellums is not an easy task. I cannot tell you how pleased I am to be here at Laney College with all of you. Laney College represents exactly what I believe can make a difference, not only in the individual lives of students, but in communities, in cities, in states, and in our country. So I want to applaud the entire staff of Laney College for doing such an important mission. Thank you all very much. I am very grateful for this endorsement. It means a great deal to me personally because I have long admired your mayor. I knew him when he served with great distinction in the House of Representatives. And I have followed his extraordinary career. In fact, yesterday the rally was outside the Ronald V. Dellums Federal Building. And I am delighted that he is joined here by his wonderful wife, Cynthia. Thank you so much for being with us. You know, Ron Dellums, I don't need to tell the people of Oakland, has the respect and admiration from people across the political spectrum. When he spoke on the floor of the House of Representatives, and we just saw a very small taste of that power that he has to convey feelings and thoughts in a manner that breaks through whatever barriers you may have to hearing the truth. A hush would fall over the chamber. Members on both sides of the aisle would stop what they were doing to listen to him speak, because they knew, whether they agreed with him or not, that whatever he had to say would be thoughtful, fair, and wise. So to receive his endorsement today is an extraordinary honor. And I am grateful not only for that, but that Mayor Dellums has agreed to serve as the national chair of my Urban Policy Committee. You know, he's answered the call to serve again, just as he did in the late 1960s when he served on the Berkeley City Council, just as he did when his passion for peace inspired him to run for Congress at the height of the Vietnam War. I don't think any of us will ever forget his extraordinary leadership to help end apartheid in South Africa. Ron Dellums introduced the very first anti-apartheid bill back in 1972. And the coalition he built over 14 years became an unstoppable force for justice, even overriding a presidential veto. When Nelson Mandela walked out of that jail, one of the people in the world responsible for that walk was Ron Dellums. In the House, this former Marine rose to become chairman of the Armed Services Committee. He never hesitated to speak out and forcefully when he believed our defense priorities were misplaced. And while he did question some of our nation's policies, no one ever questioned his patriotism or his commitment to the men and women who wear the uniform of the United States of America. And I believe that example of patriotism speaking out against our nation's policies is needed today more than ever. And when I am president, I'm going to draw on Ron's wisdom and experience to end the war in Iraq. I have laid out my plans to bring our troops home, to demand that the Iraqis take responsibility for their country, and to replace our military involvement with an intensive diplomatic initiative in the region. In the months ahead, I'm going to keep on working, keep on fighting, and keep on voting to end this war. But let me be very clear. If President Bush won't end this war while he's in office, when I'm president, I will. We are also concerned about the potential dangers posed by the government of Iran. And last week I voted for a non-binding resolution to designate the Iranian Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization in order to gain leverage in our diplomatic efforts. But 8 months ago, I took to the Senate floor to warn the president that he could not attack Iran without coming to the Congress to seek congressional authorization. I said it would be a mistake of historic proportions if the administration thought that anything the Congress had ever passed would give it the right to use force against Iran without further explicit congressional authorization. And that is why today I am joining my colleague, Senator Jim Webb of Virginia, to co-sponsor a bill he is introducing to prohibit the use of funds for military action in Iran without authorization by the Congress. Now, this legislation would not infringe on the ability of our troops to protect themselves against attacks from Iran or by Iranian surrogates. We never take away the right of self-defense. I believe the president has squandered our trust, and that's why we need this legislation. If the president believes that the use of force against Iran is necessary, he must come to the Congress and make the case to the American people. Now, we know that this issue is one that is incredibly difficult for our country, and we all want to bring our troops home. And we also want to be sure we take care of the families of those who have lost their lives and the thousands who have been injured. Every one of us has an obligation to those young men and women and their families that we will fulfill going forward. But we are making some very unfortunate choices. The president is coming to the Congress to ask for yet more money for the war in Iraq. I will vote against it the way I voted against it last summer. I think the best way to support our troops is by bringing them home and giving them the support they need in that way. The money that we spend in Iraq is money that is not going for important agenda items right here in Oakland. You know, Ron Dellums has been a passionate advocate for ensuring that every American have health care. He and I share that passion. We know how important this fight is, and we know that it won't be easy to overcome the opposition of the special interests. But I am proud to have Mayor Dellums by my side so that when I become president, we will finally get quality, affordable health care for every single man, woman, and child in our country. You know, the new challenge that Ron has taken on as serving as mayor of Oakland is one that I deeply respect. You know, he was having a pretty good life. But he did answer the call to service, and he's committed to making Oakland a model city, a strong, diverse community with a vibrant economy. And Ron, I want you to know that come January 2009, you will have a partner in the White House who will work with you to achieve that goal. That's why I was proud to endorse the U.S. Conference of Mayors' 10-point plan for strong cities, strong families, and a strong America. As president, I want to give the tools to our cities so that they can chart their own destinies. You know, instead of cutting back on community development block grants, we ought to be looking for ways to enhance them, to give more resources to cities like Oakland to make the decisions that are best for them. What Oakland may prioritize is not what San Francisco or Sacramento or LA may prioritize. That's why what Ron is doing to get back to the communities to set forth the items and priorities that the communities in Oakland want is exactly the right direction. We need to empower neighborhoods to take action on their behalf, but they can't do it without help. I will work to reinstate the COPS program to put more police back on the streets of Oakland and other cities to protect our citizens. What we have seen happen is that crime is going back up. It shouldn't surprise anybody. During the 1990s, we drove crime down. We did it by strong partnerships with cities and with more federally funded police officers. We also took the assault weapons off the streets so that the police would not be outgunned. We've got to get serious about crime again. And I know that it's imperative we look for ways to create a youth opportunity agenda. Stop the revolving door that goes from the streets to prison, to the streets to prison. We are losing too many young people of promise. I think it is time we focused as a nation on that. I commended Ron publicly for the Dellums Commission and told him that it would serve as a roadmap for what I hope to do as president. Now, people too often see our young people as a problem. I see their promise, but I want to work to bring that promise to fruition. This college does that for a lot of young people. And I want to support the institutions that will help to give even more young people a chance. We need more second chance programs, and we need to make sure that the criminal justice system works fairly and doesn't bias itself against any group of people. I think there are great opportunities for jobs that will be available in the future through dealing with global climate change and getting to an energy future of independence. And I want to work with Ron on his green core idea. If we put young people to work in everything from solar to wind to geothermal to biofuels to energy efficiency to weatherization, we will create in America millions of new jobs. And as Ron likes to say, they are jobs that will not be outsourced. That work will be done right here in Oakland. So there's a lot of work to be done. And what I admire about Ron Dellums is that he keeps his eye on the vision of where Oakland and America needed to be headed, but he keeps his feet firmly on the ground. He understands when he writes in the Dellums Commission report of the minefield of tripwires that too often trip up young people, particularly young men of color. You know, we have 1.4 million young men of color between the ages of 16 and 24 who are out of school and out of work. They're not earning legal wages or learning marketable skills. Too many of them grow up without fathers, wind up in prisons, end up losing their lives to guns or violence. Instead of wringing our hands over what we are to do, let's roll up our sleeves and get to work in making it possible for us to save their lives and turn them into productive citizens. I think you know, the Dellums Commission gave us that roadmap. I've proposed a youth opportunity agenda. I call on everyone, governments, universities, colleges, community colleges, businesses, nonprofits, labor unions, churches, individuals, to begin looking for ways we can each open doors. We know what works. We have to start with early education, and we have to go all the way through the education system, and we have to have more skills training programs like you have right here at Laney. Ron and I visited some of the culinary arts students. We need to be training people for the jobs that are here today and then helping them to be constantly improving their skills for the jobs of tomorrow. I will dramatically expand mentoring programs like Gear Up that intervene early, starting in middle school. I will invest $100 million in a new public-private internship program to give at-risk students real-life work experience and access to the professional networks that can help them out as they go through life. I want to make sure that we have second chance education and training programs and to give young people the feeling that once again they're part of our American family. It's going to be important that we do this because if you look at the challenges we face, we do not have a person to waste. Right now, we know that 1 in 3 African American men wind up in prison or jail at some point in their lives. We know how difficult it is to reintegrate back into the larger society. I intend to change that. I will commit $200 million over 5 years to fund innovative partnerships between government and business and not-for-profits that will help develop comprehensive strategies for reintegrating ex-offenders into our communities. Because at the end of the day, I want these young people to be part of building our future together. And I know we can do that. Now, there are those who are going to say, well, this can't be done. Well, there always are people who say that, aren't there? But I like to remember what James Baldwin once said. Those who say it can't be done are usually interrupted by others who are doing it. So if we work together not only with the mayor, but the other elected officials who are here. We work together with the business community. We work together. Let's find these solutions. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's start acting like Americans again. I am tired of being told that we can't solve the health care problem, we can't solve the energy problem, we can't deal with global warming, we can't improve our schools, we can't create jobs. I don't believe any of that. I think it's time we start saying, yes, we can, and get about showing the world we will. Thank you all very much.
You've been watching Peace Band. Each week, we bring you one of the many events that take place at Berkeley City College, the College of Alameda, and Laney and Merritt Colleges in Oakland. We'll be back next week with another exciting event. Check out our website at peaceband.tv. Thanks for tuning in.